So this video is about a lot of what I've been seeing is a lot of layoffs. I don't know if you guys been seeing what's been happening. It just doesn't look good at all. So a company, they fired 2,700 workers while they were sleeping days before Thanksgiving. So the workers, this is a Mississippi-based furniture company that received a text saying that they were terminated just before midnight on the 21st of November. And so I don't know if people might have already heard about it, but I just thought it was something because you notice that Meta had layoffs, which was better known as Facebook. I believe they were laying off like 11,000. And then Twitter was laying off, and some people voluntarily laid themselves off. They left because the new boss in charge is Elon Musk, or he's one of the ones that is supposed to be running the company. And so not everybody is uh, that excited about it. Some stayed and some decided opt to leave, and then others were terminated. Then I heard Amazon was doing some big layoffs, and it was in the thousands. So it's something going on, definitely. That these big companies, I notice these companies like this have been doing a lot of mass, I call them mass layoffs. And two, what I have also been seeing is that Jeff Bezos, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and some other people who I guess they're all about the money have been warning that there could be or is we're already heading for a recession in 2023. And so this is the last month of the year of 2022. And so there's this warning that there could be a lot of um, troubles financially. And I believe that's why this has prompted a lot of these companies to downsize or lay off so many workers. But it's sad because it comes right during or before the holidays, just before. So there's more into this article. And it says a Mississippi based furniture company, um, they abruptly fired 2,700 workers in the U.S. just days before Thanksgiving, according to multiple reports. So I have been watching all of this stuff. I don't know if anybody else is seeing what I've been seeing, that it is not as great a Christmas for everybody as you would think it should be, but it looks like this is not good. So this is just yet one of many articles talking about the layoffs. Um, and so that was one article that I noticed. Um, and then let me see, because usually I always look focus on one article, but if if you hear what I'm saying, like I'm just gonna go over here. Um, it's just a lot of layoffs, and I'm noticing that, and I think that it's saying after the great resignation, the quiet quitting, the era of loud layoffs is here now. So Meta confirms that I was right, 11,000 layoffs amounting to 13% of its workforce, TechCrunch. And so big tech layoffs continue. And so it hasn't stopped either. So it's still going. Even Google, and Google could be next, is what they're saying. So I'm just letting you guys a heads up. Any of you guys work at these places. It used to be that you could rely on these places. What we were hearing about how good the money is, and that they provide lunch, and they had good benefits and things like that. But now it's like, wow, they have like, once they lay off, it's not just a few people. It's like almost half their staff, or a majority of their staff gets laid off. Um, it's not good either, because it's coming at a time. Um, and so DoorDash latest to cut jobs amid ballooning costs. So it's happening everywhere, you guys. So pay close attention that it's not just one place doing it. It's like everywhere. You look, these layoffs, meta layoffs hit home in Seattle. Um, it says layoffs. What layoffs? So Wall Street, meanwhile, high level of job openings suggests that away from the headlines, many employers are still so. But those are the jobs I notice. I have seen that too, where you'll see like hiring signs, but they're excuse my French, they're like bullshit jobs, or they don't pay very well. Um, so it's a lot. You know, you might see hiring signs, but those are not the jobs that are jobs not necessarily people desire to be at. Either it's they don't pay very well, the benefits aren't that good, or maybe they don't have enough. They're they already are struggling. They don't have enough staff to keep the jobs flowing. So big tech layoffs continue, and Google could be next. So the layoffs in big tech are continuing as companies take strain amidst a struggling economy and looming recession fears 2022 has seen. So I just wanted you to know that it's not me making, a lot of people say, well, where's your facts? And are you just making these things up? But some of you that are probably already work at these places know it's not a made up story, that you feeling it right now. You probably might be one of these people going through this right now. Big tech layoffs. Um, and so the looming fears 2022 has seen some biggest layoffs in some time. These are huge layoffs. I mean, they come like right before the holidays. That's when people get together with their families. They're trying to buy gifts. They're trying to do things. Maybe go. Have a good time or whatever, vacation. And now you don't see that much of that being the case, or maybe change of plans. You might be staying home and doing something. Like closer to your home because it's less expensive. These are not small companies either laying off employees. So some of the biggest companies around the world are laying off employees. So the next company could be contemplating staff layoffs is Google. So you Google people, listen up. The company announced the Simplicity Sprint earlier this year to improve efficiency across the company. So Alphabet, the parent company of Google, reportedly told employees to sharpen their focus, bring down the cost of the projects, and make the company 20% more efficient. And so I heard Amazon was doing layoffs as well. So they're not immune to what's going on as well. They are involved in the layoffs, and layoffs are coming. So if you know anything about efficiency, when a business tries to improve efficiency, it could indicate that the company is looking to produce the same output with reduced resources. So this may signal that there will be layoffs very soon for Google. Google's ad revenue has slowed down as its most recent quarterly earnings show. So the company's quarterly revenue rose by less than 10%. So for the first time since June 2020, the height of the pandemic. Um, so basically, it just goes into more detail about why they do these mass cuts. So it says continue reading. So I guess there's more involved in it. So business and consumer worldwide, or they're tightening spending on ads as well. So which has impacted Google's ad revenue. So recession fears, soaring inflation, rising interest rates have been the main factors contributing to reducing the spending. So, should Google reduce its headcount and lay off employees, it would not be the first company to do so, and likely not the last either. So, I'm just letting you know that I know what I've been seeing. So, I mean, like you just take a look at some of these places, these huge companies. They just cutting people loose. So the unemployment line going to be a lot bigger by the end of the year and by the beginning of next. And so you're going to see less staff. But the crazy part about these big companies, they have to do a lot. And so with less staff, wouldn't that be putting a lot of pressure on the staff that does remain? So that's my question. I'm like, these are huge companies. You need all those workers. So now if you don't have as many people, then you want the same result as if you had all those people, and now you're not going to get that result because you cut back all these workers. And so they think more about their company and their money rather than the people. And the people that are remaining, they're gonna have to do more than what they've been doing, as if all those people are still there. So that's what makes it kind of difficult. So we'll see what happens with that. So I don't know. You see, there's like wording and stuff, signage and stuff. Is just talking about all these big, huge companies that are laying off, or people have voluntarily left them. And all these big money people like Zuckerberg and Elon and some of the other ones, they've also sound the alarm about the recession coming. People with money usually are worried about money issues and topics. And so anything having to do with money, they're going to be the first ones to know if there's a big recession or something that's coming, because it could affect them as well. So, and more than likely it will if it has something to do with money, of course. But I just noticed it just seems really sad. There's a lot of people. I don't know if anybody really been focused on it. Even some of these jobs, they've been cutting back some of the smaller jobs. Try to cut back on stuff. Start noticing things like, well, why are you cutting back on this and this product, or why are you cutting back on these things? Resources or whatever. But I've noticed it, and I'm like, it's kind of scary because you're trying to like, what's happening next now since they laid off these people. But that brings me to this as well. It's bringing up the issue of the high gas, the high inflation, and I also saw an article having to do with the rents. Now that's a whole nother topic, but I'm hearing that because of all of these layoffs and because of the high inflation and the high probability of a lot of these jobs not having the resources and stuff, it's affecting. It's like a domino effect. It's also going to affect the rents because people are going to be now short of the rent because they don't have that big tech job no more, or they got laid off and they're going to try to have to figure out what they're going to do, because a lot of people are not going to be physically able to work 2 and 3 jobs to make what they made at Google or wherever else they were working. And so that's where the problems are going to start coming in at. And so you're going to see some people, they ain't going to be able to come up with all that rent money. So it's going to affect the rents, and it has, because now they went to Washington, and I heard, not just heard, but I seen where they were picking it at Washington, and it's a tenants union. It's big, and it's talking about all across California, and not even just California. That most of the states that have been impacted with the high rents, they're gonna start putting a cap on it and having like a big rent control, because everybody's just affected now, and I figured this was a good article to come up with, to like bring about why some of this is happening, because when you see these layoffs, it's gonna affect a lot of people. These are like good companies, y'all. Like they pay good money. I heard Google. Like I had somebody I know that they went to Google. Google was providing. They was providing all their workers, their staff, lunch. I don't know which ones. I don't know if all of them do the same thing, but it was pretty much like how Twitter was doing that until Elon Musk came in and he said that he was going to stop doing the free lunches, because Twitter workers were getting like lunch, and I don't know if it's a certain building or a certain place where they do that specifically, but there's some of these big companies, they provide your lunch. You don't have to buy the lunch. They have, I think, maybe a cafeteria, and they just provide you the lunch. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go. But keep your eyes and your ears open. This right here, these big, huge layoffs, this is spelling trouble. Most definitely. If you look at all of it, and it's straight across the board. So I'm noticing, yeah, you can't just look at this lightly and be like, oh, this doesn't affect me. But, it's like a domino effect. If it happened, like I said, like with the one, like you had Meta, then you had Amazon, then you had Twitter, now Google's in trouble. They sound an alarm for them too as well. So that's the reason why you see all of this. And so this is really bad. When you see stuff like this, you're like, oh man, a lot of people gonna be out of work. And what that says is desperation. That's what it said to me. That you're gonna have more people trying to do, like, and this does happen. This happens. This can happen with any group where people start to get desperate and they start doing things that might even be illegal. Because they're desperate for they're trying to make the rent, and they're trying to make ends meet, and they're worried that they might not can they be able to provide for their family and stuff. So that might affect um, the way that things are going. Right now for them, it may not be a good situation. So all these companies are being hit with layoffs, mass layoffs, and so this seems like they say this stuff ain't ending either. And so that's what I was looking at when they said, "Oh, it ain't ending." So, if you do got a little job, maybe they don't pay that great, but at least you got somewhere to work. I mean, for the time being, I mean, it would be nice if some places pay better. Like these jobs, they were paying really well, and that's what's troubling because, you get used to living a certain way. When you start making money and you start doing well, you're used to living a certain way and being able to afford certain things. But when you get a pink slip or a layoff or a text telling you, oh, you're no longer going to be getting these paychecks, think about people with houses and with cars, and maybe they got a car note. Maybe somebody just got a new car. Maybe somebody just moved into somewhere, um, or they just bought a house or whatever. So all those people are affected by this right here. So that's what makes this really, really a big deal.